Welcome back to something a little bit different. I normally do the gaming content, but I love football and I love Middlesbrough Football Club. I've followed them ever since I was a little kid. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to do a tier list on what I think personally of each player's football season at Middlesbrough Football Club so far for the 2023 to 2024 season. I say so far, season's already over. So yeah, so for this particular season, how well I personally think they've done. Let me know if you think that anything's different. This is just an opinion, so if your opinion's different to mine, don't get offended by it. Whoa, calm down. Obviously everybody's got their own opinions and stuff like that on it, so that was a joke, by the way. I'm going to go through my rank on what I think of the players and how well they've done this season. I know for a fact, with it being a football-related opinion, you're going to have completely different opinions to me. Even Middlesbrough fans are going to have different opinions to me. And anyone that's not a Middlesbrough fan will think I'm absolutely overhyping my squad. But I do, and that's it. So I'm possibly a bit biased to Middlesbrough. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and rank them in order of how well we think they've done. So we've got 5 different categories. So you've got your GOATed, the greatest of greatest of all time. Obviously, there can be more than one in there, though. So, the best players at the club, we're going to put the players that have a good season. Well, I think have had a good season. Some that have just had average. So, do you want a sticker or something? Basically, you're getting paid to do your job. So, you'd expect to do better. You'd expect to do the average. Try again, the ones that have not had a great season, but, willing to kind of stick by them and just see how they do. And get out, the ones that are just, no offense, obviously they're football players and they obviously work really, really hard, but if they're not suited to the club, they're not suited to the club. So, they're kind of the ones that I'd say haven't had a great season, although I don't really rate myself personally. So, we're going to start off with a few that have not really played much because of injuries or that have not played really at all. So we've got someone here that hasn't played at all, Matthew Hoppy. He just doesn't seem to be fitting in at the club at all, really. He has been sent out on loan. We give him a couple of appearances last year. Been the bench a couple of times, but he just doesn't get into the squad. For some reason, he doesn't fit it. I'd like to see what he can do, but for that particular reason, I'm going to have to put him on the get out because he just seems to be picking up a wage at the moment and not actually doing anything for the club. So apologies, that might be a bit harsh, and I'm happy to take criticism on that one because I haven't seen a lot of him, but he's on the payroll and he's not giving us anything back. So that's the only place I can put him. Hayden Coulson as well, another player that hasn't had a massive amount of a chance. He had a bit of a chance at the beginning of the season. We give him a couple of games, but he just, I think personally at the moment, he's not really this quality of football. He's not championship level. I think he went to Blackpool, I believe, on loan and did well in League One. So I think, stick to the League One and, work on your progress, get better. I'm sure he can become a great footballer in the future. When he first came to Boro, he looked like quite a promising attacking fullback, but he just hasn't really done it at Boro. So again, unfortunately, mate, I'm going to have to put you on the get out because, again, you're picking up a wage at the club and you don't fit in for whatever reason. May regret that one in the future. Okay, we have got, I believe that's Alex Gilbert. He's been given a couple of chances, but not really a lot. I'd like to see a little bit more of him, to be honest. He's came on a couple of times. He tries, obviously he's still in and around the club. He's just not really putting in the performances that we would want from him, but again, he's not really getting much of a sniff. So we'll give him a try again. Obviously, I can't say he's had an average season. He hasn't had enough to sort of have the average season. And I'm basing this on how well they do on the pitch and when we've seen them, but also, what sort of chances they're getting in the club as well. And if I think that chance might be just or fair. And, at this point, in Michael Carrick's career as a Middlesbrough manager, I can't really do anything but trust him because he's done a fantastic job with the football club. Yes, disappointing season. We've had a couple of bad spells. We started off bad. We had a bad rut in the middle as well. But we still finished fairly high in the table. So if we could have just cut that out and started holding our nerve against these smaller clubs, which is generally, no offence to anyone that supports some of these lower clubs that may have got relegated, but we just seem to just play terribly against small clubs every now and again when we're on a bit of a run. So, yeah. So two more as well that did play a little bit more. And I think we massively missed them, to be honest. Tommy Smith at right back. Until we brought Ayling in, I think we were struggling quite a lot at that position because Dijksteel's in and out the squad with injuries. So Tommy Smith, I can't say he's had a good season. He didn't play enough, and he is very, very prone to getting a card. But he's got passion, so I'm going to give him an average. And I'd definitely give him a sticker as well because he tries for the club, and that's a good thing. Lenihan as well, same boat, massively missed. I think when we got the injuries early on in the season. It's a shame. I mean, he still played quite a lot of games, to be fair, and actually, arguably, he was in the squad when we were on our worst run. So I should probably be a bit harsher on Lenihan, to be fair, but he seems to give it his all. He's a good defender, and he's very, very good for this league. So I'm going to give him an average. I can't give him a good. He didn't play enough, but at the same time as well, he was in the squad when we had that bad run. So in reality, he could well be down there for a lot of people. So let me know what you think on that one. Bangura. Now again, in and out the squad, in and around. He had a couple of injuries. But actually, you know what? I really, really liked the look of Bangura when he was in the squad. I think he was one of my favourite playing at left back. I much preferred him over Engel at the beginning of the season. Well, at the beginning, because I thought he looks like a great left back. But the more Engel got used to the league, the better Engel actually got. So, I'm going to give him an average. I can't give him a good because he didn't play enough. And I do think he will come good, but I can't give him a good at this point. Ayling. Now, he came in very late in the season to us on loan from Leeds, which, we shouldn't really like him. He came on loan from Leeds, but he's just got something about him. He's a character. He's got passion. He winds people up. He's good on the ball. He's good off the ball. He picks up fouls when you're in a difficult position. When he's sort of penned in a little bit, he'll go for they call it like an Ayling flop or something. And a bit like McNair in that sense, he's quite good at that as well. And yeah, I really, really rate him. And there is talks that he may be coming back to us next season. I think he wants to come back to Boro. So I'd say, overall, he had a good season at Boro. Even though he came in late, I'd say he did really, really well. So, Finn Azaz, I believe that is. Is it Finn Azaz? Yeah, I think this is Finn Azaz. Right. Now, Finn. What can we say about Finn, right? So, he came to the club. Massive, massive promise. Obviously, been doing really well. Was it Plymouth? Another club anyway. And he came in and we thought, we need this attacking kind of creative midfielder. And he looked, when he first came in, he looked a bit sluggish, he didn't fit the system. You kind of forgive him for that. He's new to the football club. He's getting used to the lads. He's getting used to the club. And a few more games, and he just looked rubbish. That's me being polite. I'm trying not to use naughty words, but he didn't look good at all. He looked really slow on the ball. He didn't look creative at all. He didn't look like he knew what he was doing. Off the ball, he seemed quite lazy. He just didn't really, to me personally, he just didn't seem like the player that I was hoping he was going to be. We did get him for a cheap price. I think it was like less than 2 mil. So, for this league, that's an okay, well, modern football, it's an okay price, but you still want a little bit more when you're buying a player. However, in saying that, towards the back end of the season, the last few games, once he got a bit of confidence built up, he did start playing better. So I can't be too harsh on the lad because he looks like he's one of them that's just taken a bit of time to settle. And I actually do think he may come better. So, I don't know where to put him. We'll put him in average. I feel a bit harsh putting him there, actually. No, we'll put him in try again. I think he's sort of bordering in between the two. Didn't do enough for me to sort of put him in having an average season. He certainly didn't have a good season for Boro anyway. So, yeah. Luke Thomas. Right, so what can we say about him? Now, he came into the squad. He kind of took over at left back, pushed Engel out the squad for whatever reason. I do not know. Engel, a bit hot-headed. Shows a bit of passion though, so I like that. But Luke Thomas, I mean, I don't know what all the hype was about this guy, because as far as I'm concerned, he was terrible. And if he doesn't come back to the club next year, well, he was on loan anyway. If he doesn't come back, then who cares? He'll probably go on to another club and do amazing, because that's usually what happens with Boro players. I mean, look at some of them Ipswich players, right? Played for Boro, didn't get a look in, went out to Ipswich, done fantastic. Barlassa, right. I'm going to leave him till a little bit later. Right, so we'll skip ahead. We'll go to Matty Crooks, right? One of my favourite Boro players. Absolutely love Matt Crooks. He's a great personality. Off the pitch, he seems. Great personality on the pitch. He's got the passion. He's got a touch and a pass that is just so underrated, I think, for Middlesbrough. A lot of fans were getting on his back towards the beginning of the season. You know, he's too slow, he's rubbish, he's this and he's that. But you know what? What I say to them Boro fans is you just don't have enough, you don't look enough really at the overall what a player offers, and people will go through rough patches, but you forget what he offered the previous seasons, and actually this season as well. He then became good, and I think people did start getting off his back. But how anyone could really ever not say that Crooks was good for this squad, I do not know. Tempted to put him up in goated, but I don't think he quite did enough to be up there. And also with him leaving and going to the MLS, which I don't blame him for. You know, he wants to provide a better life for his family, he wants to try something else. I was very shocked at the time, but with him leaving, he didn't complete the full season. And, you know, we weren't picking up massively great results all the time with him in the squad. I can't put him in goated, but if you're watching this, Matt Crooks, which you're probably not, I really appreciate everything you did for Middlesbrough Football Club, and I think you're a great player for the club, so respect for that. Matt Clark, right, so I thought he looked good last year when he came in, and he had a couple of games, and I think he got injured again. Can't remember 100%, but seen him on and off, thought he looked quite good. He came back in the squad this year, he looked a little bit shaky. He gives the ball away a lot at the back, and we like to play out the back quite a lot, and he gives the ball away a lot from out the back, and that's something he really needs to get out of his game. In terms of a defender, great, big, strong, a little bit slow, good in the air though, and a good defender, but he just gives the ball away a lot. So for that reason, I can't really put you up there as goated. I know he got rated as, or he's up there for one of the, you know, fans players of the year, so you know, I am aware that people do rate Clark, but he gave too much away. And you know what? For that reason, I'm going to have to put him in average. I know people will probably laugh at me for that, but no, actually, no, I'm going to put him in good. He had a good season. He did have a good season. If I think straight away, good season. Yes, of course he did. So, yeah, good. We'll leave it at that. Senny Dieng. Right, so Dieng. Again, quite prone to making a mistake every now and again, but he does play the ball with his feet quite a lot, and towards the back end of the season he started playing it out. So I think what was happening is Carrick's system, he wanted to play the ball out from the back. They were all sticking to the system. It was getting us caught out a few times, and towards the back end I think Carrick sort of caved in a little bit and went, you know what, actually lads, start playing out from the back a bit more. Stop, you know, not playing out from the back. Stop playing it from the back as much. Hoof it up there. So yeah, a couple of mistakes. Great shot stopper though. I mean, Dieng, really good goalkeeper. Really good for this league. And actually, I wasn't sure about him when we bought him, but he has came really good. I don't know whether to put him in goated quite because of the couple. Actually, you know what? I am, because he saved us a lot of points last year. A lot of the times he saved us. So he's going up there and goated. First player up there in goated for the squad. Let me know if you agree with that. If you don't agree with that, don't agree with it, it's absolutely fine. This is just a personal list, as I said. So Anthony Dijksteel, now as I mentioned, in and out the squad, not so much of a chance. Not much to say about him really. I think he's a fantastic player when he gets in the squad, but he's been injured too much, and he comes in and out the squad so much that he doesn't really get much of a chance. When Ayling wasn't there, obviously, and even to this extent, I really think he could be a better player than Ayling. If he gets a good run in the squad, but he just doesn't. So he's going to have to go on a try again, and hopefully we keep him for next season and give him a bit more of a chance, or he keeps fit a bit more, and we'll see where he's at with that. Who's that? So we've got Dale Fry. Right, Dale Fry. Local lad, lovely lad as well by all accounts. I think people have met him. He's always happy to speak to the fans. He's living his dream. He's probably a lifelong Middlesbrough fan, and he's playing for Middlesbrough, and he's solid at the back. I don't think he's had the best season though, so for that I'm going to have to put you into just average for that. I'll put you up there, higher up in the average though, because I do really like Dale Fry. As a person, he seems lovely, and as a football player, he's solid. He's just a bit clumsy on the ball sometimes. Engel. Now, he is my favourite left-back at Boro by far. As I said, at first I thought Bangura was better, but as the season progressed, I mean, he's got such a decent ball on him, from that left side, and he whips a ball in so many times. He's so good at it. Yes, his temperament can let him down a little bit, and his defensive skills can let him down a little bit. He's still pretty good, but he gets caught on his heels quite a lot, and he ends up pulling people down and getting cards. But I do think overall he's had a good season, so I'm going to put him in good. Fours, another player that cannot stay fit and just gets injured all the time. Now, it is a shame because, again, I think we really need him. I much prefer him playing on the right. I know a lot of people are saying he's got the best shooting at the club. Why is he not playing as a centre forward or a striker? This is before whoever we mentioned later on started getting their scoring boots on. But I prefer him on the right. I think he's got that pace. When I've seen him play, he can just... He's a nice out to have, especially if you're playing Jones at wing back, which is what happened quite a lot because we didn't have Ayling, and as I mentioned, other players were injured a lot. So, fours, really good player for Boro. He's prone to a yellow card as well. He's got the passion. He wants to do well. He can spit his toys out the pram a little bit, but I like to see that from players sometimes. So, I'd say he had a good season. Can't put him up and goated. He was too injured. Can't do that. Glover, now he had a little run in the squad when Dieng was injured, and he kept Dieng out of the squad for a little bit when he was performing all right. So, he started off okay, all right shot stopper, made a couple of little mistakes, which I noticed here and there, but fans were still bigging him up, saying, he's done really well, and I wasn't too sure on him. And then as time went on, and as he got a bit more of a run in the squad, he did start making more of the mistakes, and as much as he's a good shot stopper, I don't think he's anywhere near the level of Dieng, and I think he made a couple of costly mistakes, and I'm willing to give him another try, and I think he's a good second choice goalkeeper, but he's not a first choice goalkeeper for this level at the moment, so he's going in try again. Now I feel bad for Greenwood. So Greenwood's next. He did start off really well when he came into the squad, and he's got the passion. He wanted to do well. You could see him. He was always chasing the balls down, and he kept getting moved about too much from the wing to the centre to the wing to the centre. And he played awful on the wing. Whenever he got played on the left or the right, he was terrible. He just went missing in games. He didn't do anything. When he played in the centre, he was a little bit more impactful. So I think for that reason, he was a little bit unfairly done to. Now, I know we're not bringing him back next season, so we've decided just to send him back to Leeds, and it was quite a small fee. They wanted, I think it was 1.5 million they wanted for him. Small fee, of course, but small in football. And, if your club's not buying him for 1.5 million in that league for a central player that could be good enough, then I think it's just one of them that I kind of agree with Carrick on that one. I feel harsh doing that, but again, I kind of agree with Carrick not to bring him back. He just didn't do enough towards the back end. I think he was harshly done to, and I think play him in the centre consistently, he might play well. But we tried playing him up front, he didn't do it. We tried playing on the wing, he didn't do it. We tried playing him in the centre, and he did all right a couple of times, but too easily frustrated. I think it was more of a petulant thing. He just seemed to kick out at people all the time and get annoyed when he couldn't get it his own way, and it kind of let him down in this game. So I feel harsh with that as the get out, the way I've worded it, but it's just to try and add a bit of, to the list. So, and evidently he has got out anyway, so I wasn't completely wrong, was I? Right, so we'll go to Josh Coburn next. So Coburn, I really like the lad. A lot of people think he's clumsy, rubbish, and he's just not good enough. He's a young lad, and people think he needs to go out on loan again for a couple of seasons. I think, this whole loan and players out thing, you need to give him a chance in the league that you want him to play, and you need to give him a run in the squad. And Carrick did give him a run in the squad. And actually, I don't think he did too bad at all. I genuinely think he did quite well, but then he started getting overplayed because we didn't have the cover for him, and it had a detrimental impact on him. He started looking really tired at parts, and then he picked up injuries here and there, and that really just pushed him out of the squad. And for that reason, I can't put him that he's had a good season. I do really like Josh, and I think he's a good player, and he's had some really, really good moments, and he's quite composed in front of goal as well quite a lot of the time, which is really good to see in a striker. And he is the sort of striker that a lot of clubs do need, but he didn't get his chance, and he didn't have the fitness levels for it, and he didn't have the stamina to keep up and consistently keep playing. So he's going to have to go in the average for me. Hackney, now, local lad, really, really good at football, no doubt at all. Really good off the ball and on the ball. He's quite well composed, got a decent pass in him. He scores a few goals. He's strong for his size. He sort of just went missing towards the back end of the season. As soon as sort of whispers of him and other clubs being interested came in, he just never really got played anymore. It was like we were keeping him out of the squad to make sure he stayed fit so that we can cash in him at the end of the year, which is what we did at the back end of last season with Akpom. So I feel like he's probably on his way out. I can't say the lad's had an average season because he has been really, really good, and he's got interest from elsewhere. He's probably one of my favourite players at the club. I do think and it could be that he was genuinely injured or genuinely not fit, and I apologise if that's the case, but I feel like his attitude really just seemed to be he didn't want to be near the club anymore, and I think he seemed like he did in the cup. He had the passion there when he scored, especially in that game against Chelsea, and he seemed like he really, really, really loved that moment. So maybe he did want to be there, and I'm being a bit harsh to him because I don't know the ins and outs. So yeah, actually, I'm going to put him in goated. Great player. Wherever he goes, I think he'll do absolutely fantastic. A lot of Middlesbrough fans might disagree and say he is plain average, but he's a young lad, and I think he's done fantastically, and especially with the pressure that's been put on him, kind of to be the centre point of that team, compared to what else we've got there. I don't really think you can say anything else about him, to be honest. So we'll go Paddy McNair. Now, unfortunately, McNair has had his contract not renewed, so he will be leaving us anyway this year. He's been with us for quite a few years. Played about 18 games, I think, this year, so not many at all. Again, in and out of injuries. I really like McNair, and I think he's a really good player, and I think he'll go elsewhere, and I think he'll do well. He's versatile. He plays midfield. We play him at centre-back quite a lot of the time. He can play at wing-back. He's a really, really good player, but he didn't really get the chance this year, so I'm just going to have to stick him in average. And, yeah, even that feels, he's gone, so maybe I'm being a bit too nice to him, but at the same time, I think he was a great player for the club. So, Johnny Howson. El Capitano, the captain of the club. Now, what can I say about Johnny Howson that has not already been said, other than he is a fantastic, fantastic player? Yes, he's getting on a bit, but I think you always need a player like him. Always been my favourite type of players, then players in the middle of the park that control it. My favourite ever player for Middlesbrough was George Boateng, and he was that solid central player. So, Howson, love him to bits. Will he be good in the Premier League? Questionable. He did play right against Chelsea he didn't actually. He played terribly against Chelsea in the second game, but he was sort of getting played out of position at the time. So he's got to be goated. He's a captain, and he's a captain for a reason. He's there. He leads his players. He always shows passion. He always puts everything he can in. He turns up 95% of the time. There is occasions where he plays bad, but rare. It's rare. Okay, who are we going to go for next? O'Brien. Right, started off really well at Boro. Got injured, was out the squad for a while. Came back towards the back end. Wasn't great. Had a couple of games where he took to get used to back to the swing of it. But as it got towards the end, he started playing really well again. Can't say anything other than the lad had a good season. If he wasn't injured for so long, I do think our season layout might have been a little bit different in terms of where we finished. And I might be exaggerating there, but that's my opinion. Riley McGree, injured way too much, always on the injury table. Very good player. Looks great when he's on. The fans wanted him back in the squad because he was. We felt like we were missing that creativity, and he came back in. And I don't know. I just feel like he's a little bit overhyped. I do think he's good. I wouldn't say he's been injured too much. He's going in average for that, and that's generous, to be fair. With the amount of injuries he's had and with the amount he's been out, he could easily just be in the try again. But I think he's a good player. I do think he's a really good player. I just don't think he's had the season he should have had. Silvera, another Australian. So, Silvera. Now, when he first came to the club, he looked great. He's got speed, he's got skill. He wasn't as composed. I remember him blasting a shot over the bar from about 6 yards out in one of his earlier games, and I was thinking, oh, he looks like he's going to come good, that kid. Like, he looks so good. He's getting the positions. He's this, he's that, and he hasn't really. He's scored a couple of goals. He's done a couple of important things, but generally he comes off the bench as a bit of an impact player, and quite frankly doesn't have much of an impact most of the time. I wouldn't say get out. I wouldn't say he's had a bad season, but I certainly wouldn't say he's had a good season. So we've got two Australians right next to each other there. Glover pointing at him going, oh, you over there. Let's go and have a barbie. And sorry, that was probably a bit xenophobic or whatever it is. But yeah, not a great season. We'll see more of him next year, and hopefully he turns up. Morgan Rogers. Now, I feel like we robbed Villa a little bit with the money we got for Rogers. I do think he played all right. He had good spells, good patches, and he obviously got recognition and got us some money. We only had him for 6 months, and then we went ahead and sold him and made a lot of profit on him. I do think in the future he will be a fantastic player. He's definitely got the ambition there. He does seem a little bit more focused on his social media, which I never think's a great thing for a footballer. Just get your head down, get on with your game, and just focus on it. But, as a young lad, of course he's going to be interested in Instagram and all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, very, very average player, I think, for the season. He looks like he will come really good. But I can't say he's had a good season because I don't think he has. He's had a good season for himself because he's got himself a Premier League move after a few months. And he was, loyal. Well, I can't say he's loyal to the Boro, but he put his effort in for Boro and he wanted to do the best. But again, he took him a while to break into the squad. He had a couple of starts and terrible. And then I kept saying to my missus, he's going to come good in because he looks like a really good player. And actually, he did come good. But then I feel like he had a good few games and he just sort of filled out again and became very average. Okay, Isaiah Jones. I love Izzy. I think he's a great player. I know he struggled with his battles with mental health and things, which is really hard probably in the game when it comes to doing stuff. It probably does have a massive knock-on effect people don't realise. So Isaiah Jones, great player. When he gets his opportunity, I think he normally does quite well. I'll put him in good. He is bordering in average because he does go missing too many times, but he gives you a great out, and I think he has a really good, really, really good potential when he has a good game. So maybe I'm going to put him at the bottom of that anyway. Latte Laugh. Now, what can I say about Latte Laugh? He started off pretty bad. He's strong, he's fast, he's good in the air, and he just couldn't finish his dinner. Honestly, his finishing skills at first were pathetic. Like, honestly, I could have done better, and I'm not even exaggerating there. Every time, low wobble towards a keeper, hit it wide, whatever he was doing, terrible. He got the ball caught in his feet all the time. He just wasn't good, and he got lucky a couple of times with his earlier goals, getting the ball caught in his feet, getting it out and stuff, but he then went out the squad for a few games, injured, and he got back in the squad, and don't know what he's been doing when he was out the squad, or whether he's had time to reflect or think, but his finishing since then has been absolutely outstanding. He reminds me of how Akpom was last year. Every chance that he got, you just thought he was going to put it away. He started scoring goals from outside the box, started scoring. He just looked like a different player when it came to finishing, and that was the only piece of his game that was missing at the beginning. Everything else he was good at, but his finishing was terrible. So for that, I'm going to put him in get out because I actually think he doesn't deserve. No, I'm not. I'm putting him in goated because I think he had a fantastic season, and I do think he's up there. He did better than Hackney by far. If I'm putting Hackney in goated, then he's in goated. Hackney's going to go because he's a local lad, and overall, I think he's achieving a lot as a youngster. Vandenberg, he's going to goated straight away. Fantastic centre back for a young lad. I think he's 19, maybe 20 now. He is a brilliant, brilliant player. He's going to be so good in the future as a centre-back. I don't know how many years he's going to give us at Boro. Hopefully a few. And hopefully next year we can get promoted and he'll stick around with us because he is solid. And I mean, he is absolutely solid. At first, he's a bit accident-prone. He can kind of make a couple of little mistakes. But that was when he was playing at right-back. Then when we moved him back to centre-back, he just looks like he looked like he was just playing out of position, to be fair, at right-back. And at centre-back, great player, young lad, great potential, goated all day long. We're going to leave the manager till last, and we're going to go on to my favourite Middlesbrough player, Dan Barlasser. Now, he is by far my favourite Middlesbrough player. Said absolutely nobody ever. He is absolutely awful. Sorry, Dan, if you're watching this, but you make far too many mistakes. You're in the club regularly. I don't know why you're in the club regularly, because the amount of times you've given the ball away in awful positions and just lost as opportunities, and nobody's picked up on it. It doesn't seem that anyone blames you for it. But if you go back and look at some of these bigger games where we've lost games, it's because you've given the ball away in a stupid position, and you just panic to try and trap back, and you do nothing. As far as I'm saying, I really don't rate you as a player at all. You're not going at the bottom of my pile because some of these players are definitely worse than you, and I'm probably being very, very harsh. But for me personally, I think you are not good enough for this football club, for where we want to be at all. Sorry, and I thought when you first came from Rotherham, I thought give the lad a chance, but you just make too many mistakes. And because you're not held accountable for them, which isn't your fault, I suppose, then nothing gets done about it. You just carry on. You keep making mistakes and you keep losing his goals. And it's quite pathetic that nobody points it out, to be honest. And I don't really like that. So, yeah, take back everything I said. Apologies, ranting a little bit there. But, yeah, definitely you're not for me at this football club. And I don't think I would like to see you here next year. And then you'll probably go on to someone else and do absolutely fantastic. So, well done. Right, so Michael Carrick. Now, I want to put him in goated because I think everything he's done for this football club since he's been here and how well he can spot talent. I mean, look at the likes of Latte Laugh. Who'd heard of him before? And look at how well he's coming as a player. Vandenberg. You know, he might not be doing all of this. It might be the scouting team. But whoever's doing it, great eye for potential in players. However, bad beginning to the season, bad middle of the season. Good end to the season, good bit in the middle as well. I can't put you in goated because you didn't get us promoted. Goated is promoted. Actually, no, because they didn't get promoted either. But if we had a team full of them ones in the top, I think we would have got promoted. So, yes, it's unfair because you haven't been given a lot of money to spend. However, can I put you in goated when you didn't get us promoted? Can I put you in goated when you didn't get us promoted? I can't really, can I? Because you didn't even get us into the playoffs. So you're going to goated. You are the manager of our club. A lot of these players are here because of you. You were a fantastically underrated football player in your time as a footballer. I think your midfield prowess and how good you were at football yourself is rubbing off on some of our other players. Hackney probably wouldn't be anywhere near the player he was if it wasn't for you. So you're going to goated every day of the week. So if you disagree with that, I'm sorry that you disagree with it, but that's my list. So here's my list so far. So I'm not going to edit it because this is what I originally thought. So we've got Carrick, Dieng, Latte Laugh, Howson, of course, Vandenberg and Hackney in goated. Good seasons were given to Crooks, Ayling, Clark, Engel, Fors, O'Brien, who probably doesn't look like he fits in there now, Isaiah Jones, Average, Coburn, Dale Fry, Smith and Lenihan, who were out most of the season. Bangura, again, injured a lot. McNair, which people probably be surprised at. I'll put McGree up to the top of that because I think he was better than most. And I'll put him just below Coburn because Coburn's a local lad and, yeah, he's staying there. So yeah, and then in year, give them another go. We've got Gilbert, we've got Azaz, we've got Dykesteel, Glover, and Silvera. And not for me, in the club, we've got Greenwood, who actually I'd much prefer to Barlasser, to be fair. Barlasser, who, as I mentioned before, makes too many mistakes. Thomas, don't know why he was highly rated, because he looked rubbish. Hoppy just doesn't fit in the squad, unfortunately. I wish you did, but you clearly don't. I haven't really seen you. And Coulson as well. Again, same thing. So that's my list. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that any of these are in a different one. Also, if you want to make a tier list of your own, go ahead, make one and tag me in the video. And I'll go ahead and watch that, because I'll be interested to see what other Middlesbrough fans think of this list. So that's it for now. So if you like the content, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you like this sort of stuff, if you love Middlesbrough Football Club, or if you like gaming content, which is generally what I record. So go ahead, check some of that out, and thank you very much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.